As many of you know, a couple of times a year or so we offer an Inquirers class, which for about 6 weeks brings together a group of people who are interested in learning more about the Church of the Brethren, this congregation, and discerning whether they feel like it is the right time to become a member. Emma participated in the most recent class, and she and I had conversation about what her next step might be. What, then, should we do? At the same time, I was having some conversation with Dakota about the possibility of baptism, since Coda had taken the Youth Inquirers class at the beginning of last year. Ultimately, as you have now seen, both Emma and Dakota decided to be baptized. And since we had planned for a reception of new members last Sunday, on December 8th, we started gearing up for adding baptisms to the order of worship for last week. Very exciting. And then I looked at the calendar, and I knew that Dakota had a soccer game scheduled in the afternoon, but what I hadn't calculated was that the game was in Maryland, and the timing was not going to allow Coda to be here for worship. What, then, should we do? It seems like there are lots of what then should we do moments in life, moments that provide opportunity for turning in a new direction, for reassessment of a current trajectory, for new birth. Literally, times of new birth of a child, of a grandchild, or the birth into a new phase of life, graduation, marriage, retirement, encountering a shift or a turning point, perhaps a problem or an obstacle, a planned or unplanned shift in the flow of things, making a choice to turn, or coming to a crossroads and needing to pick a direction. A new birth, a new beginning of sorts can be found in baptism. This was such an important piece for our Anabaptist theological ancestors that they determined that it was critical to make this decision, to decide to be baptized when one was old enough to consider the choice that was being made to follow Jesus, to count the cost of living in this countercultural way, to be born anew into the life of Christ and life in Christ's community. What, then, should we do? And what we hear in the Gospel of Luke's version of John the Baptist's words to the crowds, people, baptismal candidates, who have left the city and pressed on into the wilderness, to the river, seeking this baptism into a new life that they have heard described, they have heard preached. And what John the Baptist says is that they should not be relying on being connected to their faith through Abraham, through the generations of their Jewish foremothers and forefathers. Yes, that, but not that only. Baptism is not a magical miracle solution, the one thing that will fix all of our woes or address all of our weaknesses. This act of baptism, John says, this choosing to make a commitment to a new way of living, is making a commitment and also actually living in that way. These new baptismal candidates that John the Baptist confronts, he tells them they will need to produce fruit that will show they have changed their hearts and their lives. They need to create opportunities to act in ways that live into the teachings of Jesus that they have now decided to follow, to prioritize in their lives. They need to do the good that is theirs to do. And those are our words for this morning. Do the good that is yours to do. I notice two parts in there. What then should we do? What then should we do? What good things are yours to do? And just as importantly, what good things are yours to do? It would have been beautiful and meaningful whether Emma and Dakota were baptized last Sunday or this Sunday. But I am so glad it ended up that we needed to move the baptisms to today, because this act of baptism is literally dripping with meaning when we look at it in light of these first 3 weeks in Advent. The first Sunday of Advent, we read in Luke's version of the story that the angel particularly tells Mary, "You are a blessing." And I invite you to remember your own baptism, or the story you have heard of it, or an experience that has been of baptismal quality for you, in whatever way that has happened for you, and feel the waters of blessing, of reassurance, of love washing over your soul. Last Sunday, we were reminded of the strength of a threefold cord. The log cabin quilt design demonstrates to us that we can't go alone, which is why we very publicly receive new members by reaffirmation of faith, as we did last week, and by baptism, as you saw this morning. And this Sunday, I invite you to hear these words: do the good that is yours to do. Centered in Jesus Christ, symbolized by the white cross in this quilt block design, we are each uniquely gifted, called, and equipped for the good that is ours to do in the world. Each of us emerges into the world from our act of, our commitment to centering our life in Jesus, reaching out to do the good that is ours to do. While our time of baptism in actual water is unique, often we make this choice over and over, again and again, to center Jesus, to turn from the things that pull us away from Jesus' love for us and Jesus' love for others, and do the good that is ours to do. Luke's gospel, the way Luke tells the story of John the Baptist and Jesus, is very oriented towards social justice, caring for others, particularly those who do not have the power to care for themselves or do not have a voice that is being heard. And I can tell you, in case you don't already know, that the two who were baptized today are already doing this. They both, in unique and special ways, are attentive to caring for those who are marginalized, those who face unique challenges, those who are on the outskirts of society, those who need special care and love. And I am confident that they will continue to do this work, and we all can do this work as we encourage and support one another, filled with hope, peace, and joy. This act of baptism, this commitment to doing the good that is ours to do, this is not just for our own sake. It is for the sake of the world. May it be so.